I thought I was alone. Eric, you're not alone.
How's it going, Chads? Welcome back to Browntable, and now it is time to talk about a franchise which has defined an entire generation of movie-going audiences and artists alike. And yes, that franchise is the X-Men franchise. Nando V Movies has yet again brought together a group of essayists and creators to talk about their favorite scene in an X-Men film. One excellent scene, if you will. So after having the scene I wanted to talk about stolen from me by High Top Films, you better watch yourself. I decided to talk about another scene from my favorite X-Men film, X-Men First Class. Now, here to help make this video possible is a great friend of the channel, Skillshare. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a 2-month free trial of premium membership for Skillshare. It's a great deal, I did it myself. If you want to learn more about filmmaking, writing, man, if you just want to learn about cooking, Skillshare is where it's at. Premium membership to Skillshare gives you unlimited access to join classes and communities that are just right for you. And there's tons of classes to choose from. Here's an example of a video editing class, Video Editing Transforming Footage into Evocative Travel Stories by Oliver Astrologo. What a dope last name. And I forgot to mention Skillshare is less than $10 a month, a total steal. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a 2-month free trial of premium membership so you can explore your creativity. Thanks Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Now let's talk about X-Men. Matthew Vaughn. If you don't know who Matthew Vaughn is, I like to refer to him as the GOAT. He's directed some of my favorite films like Kingsman: The Secret Service, Kick-Ass, and this film.
I met with Emma Watts at Fox and she said that we're serious when we saw Kick-Ass, blown away by it, and we feel X-Men needs to be reinvented. It was unfinished business because I came so close to directing X3. I mean, I literally storyboarded the whole film.
He was pretty much the person to get to reinvigorate the X-Men franchise after X-Men Origins Wolverine, which was great, according to videos I've made. This is the most comic-accurate Deadpool I have ever seen. Believe me, I have a YouTube channel with less than 200,000 subscribers. Executed with style, grace, and a smaller budget than the Green Lantern movie, X-Men First Class ends up becoming one of my favorite superhero films of all time. It improves upon previous X-Men films by making sure that the film isn't Wolverine and the X-Men, or literally Wolverine. It makes a film called X-Men make sure it's about the X-Men. Sure, there's a protagonist, characters of more importance and relevance to the story, but the X-Men are still a team, and I'm not joking, in the movie, every single X-Men member gets an arc. To me, one of the scenes that defines what the X-Men is about, or at least should be about, is the training montage in X-Men First Class.
You're sure? I'm sure.
I frickin' love montages. Rocky? Montage. It's great. Spider-Man 2? Montage. It's great. Your Name? Weathering with You? Montages. They're great. Montages are a brilliant and fun way of telling a story which easily allows the viewer to absorb information really quickly. This helps with pacing in a story most definitely. If you are making a movie and you want to have a montage, definitely don't have too many montages in your film, but First Class has the perfect amount of montages and this montage is utilized perfectly. So Charles Xavier and Eric Lehnsherr have recruited a bunch of young mutants and it's finally time to train them to become X-Men.
They're just kids. No, they were kids.
We'll have to train. All of us.
Fueled by the deaths of a bunch of people, and most importantly, the token black guy of the movie, it's officially time to make sure we establish the familiarity these characters have with one another. And what better way than with a montage set to the score by Henry Jackman. The montage begins with Charles and Eric going over to test Eric's magnetic abilities, which is in general a great way to showcase how these two characters are on good terms now.
The anger's not enough.
What's gotten the job done all this time?
It's nearly gotten you killed all this time.
The montage is located in the Xavier Mansion, which later on becomes the school for gifted youngsters, nodding to the previous X-Men films and of course the comics, but we're only getting started. The montage has these fun transitions which focus on what's in the next shot before revealing the entire shot. This also kind of reminds me personally of comic book panels, which in turn reminds me of that Hulk movie that did them terribly. The transitions also share the energy that the scene has, which makes them cool to watch. Now, this entire montage's purpose is this one line by Xavier.
You know, when I do this, bad things tend to happen.
It's because you can't control it. It controls you. That's why we're here, Alex. That's why we're training.
We're in a unique situation. The X-Men don't necessarily exist. we are seeing the birth of the X-Men through Charles Xavier's teachings.
What you're doing is incredible. You're hitting a pitch with sound waves that have the same resonant frequency as the glass. That's why it shatters.
This is probably the first time I've ever felt like the team was actually a team in an X-Men movie. You get glimpses of it in previous movies, and hell, X-Men The Last Stand did a decent job at the beginning with the Sentinel fight, but here, we get actual bonding and character arcs being pushed forward. But what makes all this character progression interesting to watch is that the montage is peak fun. It takes the idea of having cool superpowers and lets you in on how cool it is to have abilities like these. Like this scene in X2, but for 6 minutes straight. You get some cool power exposition, some dope character moments, and of course, excellent banter.
I trust you. I'm touched. I don't trust him. Say nothing.
But the montage isn't just fun and games.
You're using half your concentration to look normal, and you're only half paying attention to whatever else you're doing. Just pointing out something that could save your life.
The training montage is also the setup to the film's climax. There's a lot of similarities to, say, sports movies actually, with a team being coached and the coach having to put his faith in his team at the end. If this sequence of the heroes being trained didn't exist, a lot of the intrigue and tension of the final act of the film wouldn't exist either. Alex Summers' Havoc can't control his powers, and in this montage, we see Alex attempt to hone his powers. This is where the payoff comes in. Thanks to his training, Alex is able to shoot out his red ring of energy and take down Angel. Not Angel, or this Angel. Sean Cassidy, Banshee, goes from being kind of awkward and unsure about his powers to being an asset to the team.
One, go!
His flying abilities also become useful when going up against Angel. Not Angel, or this Angel. The most important payoff to the setup, which was not only set up in the training montage, but it's been setting itself up since the beginning of the film, is the submarine lift. At the beginning of the montage, Charles and Eric have a discussion about pushing Eric to his limits, about how he can do more than just stop a bullet, which leads to their talk about rage and serenity.
You know, I believe that true focus lies somewhere between rage and serenity.
The impact of the sublift wouldn't be nearly as emotional if it weren't for all the setup that these scenes put in place.
This idea of a relationship being in some ways the core to the film. And if the relationship didn't work out, then you had, well, I had the feeling, and James definitely as well, that perhaps the whole story would disintegrate. So we did a lot of work on the scenes between each other, the development of the relationship between each other.
This film truly solidified the X-Men as a team for me, not just individual heroes with powers that fight close to each other, and it's great to see that the series took this more team-oriented approach going forward, even in awful Dark Phoenix. And this montage contributes to the film's message about the importance of doing things together and not tackling things alone.
I thought I was alone. You're not alone.
How there are times when you need to reach out and rely on others to accomplish harder tasks. When put in a position to have to create a team, Xavier keeps this in mind, and Eric Lensher, Magneto, starts off the film hunting down Shaw alone.
I don't need your help.
Don't kid yourself. You needed my help last night.
Shaw's got friends. You could do with some.
But then, he learns to work with others and is finally able to confront him. This also leads him to realizing that yes, sometimes help is important, teams are important, and he establishes the Brotherhood of Mutants at the end of the film. This is all a result of one of the most important scenes in the entire film. That's right, a training montage. So while, yeah, the X-Men get their suits here and they're finally named X-Men at the very end of the film,
X-Men.
To me, this is where the X-Men are born. Not in a battlefield, not after a battle. They're born when Charles Xavier teaches these kids how to use their powers. This is when you notice that these future X-Men are inadvertently accepting their mutations for what they are, and being proud of them. Other than Hank somewhat, but that's his own character arc. This scene symbolizes what the X-Men are, and it sends a message all X-Men films should send. Be okay with who you are, and show off your strengths, 'cause they're really cool. Honestly, this scene shows us what's possible when absolute faith is put on someone. This scene not only marks the beginning of the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters in spirit, but also in spirit. Like I've said before, this scene marks the birth of the X-Men. And to me, this scene defines the franchise as a whole. Remember, anyone can participate in this series, so just make a video and send it over to Nando so he can add it to the official playlist. Thank you so much Hollow Naruto 63 yet again, and Huzuki for the IRC fan art. They're amazing, thank you. So, you made it to the end of the video, you mad lad. Make sure to check out Interstellar Ranger Commence, the anime I'm making. The link is in the description. Thank you so much, patrons, for supporting the channel as well as that project. Sorry I couldn't upload this video a day early like I usually do, but I think you can guess why. So the Patreon question of the video is by Scott Hazlitt, who asks, what is the most overrated movie/TV series you've ever seen? Now, I don't really like the term overrated, as I think most of the time people use that term to reinforce their negative opinion of something popular. But if I had to answer your question, I'd say Ant-Man and the Wasp, as that has a really high score on a lot of review sites for some reason. To not be basic and say something different, I don't think it's overrated, but I personally didn't really enjoy the movie Raging Bull, which I know is considered cinema and is very popular. But yeah, that's my opinion. Anyways, that's my answer for you. Thank you so much for asking the question. Thank you all so much for watching the video, and I hope you all come back to the table.